Week 12's in the books. Going to go over the NFL power rankings as usual on this Tuesday morning. Before I get into it, please hit like, subscribe, comment below, share this video. Visit walterfootball.com for tons of content. We have NFL picks against the spread. We have 2026 and 2027 NFL mock drafts. We have a bunch of other stuff, draft prospect rankings, fantasy rankings. We grade every signing. We grade every trade. We grade coach firings too. There were two of them today or yesterday with Chip Kelly and Shane Bowen. So we grades for those. So you can check those out. It's all at walterfootball.com and it's all free. All right, so going to start at 32 and work our way up to 1 as usual. Going to begin at 32 with the Tennessee Titans, who were 32 last week. They are now 7-24 against the spread since the beginning of last year. They've covered 3 in a row. Somehow, 2 of those were backdoor covers, so don't get too excited. The other one was the cover against Davis Mills. 2 of those backdoor covers occurred with 2 punt return touchdowns. I know that very well because we've been on the other side of those. It would be nice to get a punt return or a kickoff return touchdown our way for once this season, like once. It'd be great. But no, the Titans with Shamari DK has returned 2. He's really the only positive aspect of this team. Tennessee has done nothing positive outside of that. Although Cam Ward did have a fairly decent game in the second half against Seattle, but really, I mean, the Seahawks took their foot off the gas. So let's not take that too seriously. Number 31, down for 27 last week, the Raiders, who looked pathetic against the Browns. They lost to Shedeur Sanders, so they have to move down. Chip Kelly had no answer for what the Browns are doing. It's like he left his left tackle out to dry against Myles Garrett one-on-one. Most of the time is just a disaster. Garrett responded with 3 sacks, Geno Smith 10 sacks. This team is so bad. Chip Kelly probably deserved to be fired, although the decision the Raiders made to kind of hamstring him by taking Ashton Jeanty, number 6 overall, instead of what the original plan was Armand Membu at 6, and then one of the Ohio State running backs in round 2, Quinshon Judkins or Travion Henderson, because they both play for Chip Kelly, and that would have made much more sense because those running backs would have had much better blocking with Membu out there, who's having a great season for the Jets. Instead, they took a running back with no blocking in front of him. Just a silly mistake, and not even a generational talent like Saquon Barkley or Bijan Robinson. Jeanty is a great prospect, but not on that level. So big mistake by Tom Brady and the rest of the Raiders staff over there. Number 30, the Jets up from 31. They only move up because the Raiders move down. They look competitive for a while. They actually led at halftime against the Ravens. Gets to them later, but of course the Jets eventually lost. Tyrod Taylor really has nothing going for him. The Jets haven't scored more than 14 offensive points in any game since their bye, so they're extremely limited here, and they'll continue to lose. Number 29, the Redskins up from 30. Again, they only move up because the Raiders move down. I mean, this team's also a mess. Terry McLaurin might play coming out of the bye, but I mean, it doesn't really matter. This defense is so bad. The linebackers are incredibly slow. Number 28 is the Saints, up from 29. Again, team moving up because the Raiders moved down. The Saints lost against the Falcons as favorites. I suspect they're not going to be favored for a while after that. But Tyler Shuck at least played well against Carolina. Maybe he can do well against Miami this upcoming week. I'm going to have a big play on that. So check out my picks, which would be posted all day Tuesday. Number 27, the Dolphins, up from 28. Again, the Raiders move down, so the Dolphins move up. They're on their bye. The Dolphins are still in Group F. I'm not convinced that they're not a terrible team. I mean, what do they have going for them except for Devon Achane and Jalen Waddle? And Waddle's not even that great. He's solid, but not great. It's really just Achane. Miami's run defense, I guess, is not bad either, but everything else is terrible. They can't pressure the quarterback. They can't stop the pass. Tua's a disaster sometimes. They can't block. I don't like their coach. Just a lot of bad things here from Miami. So we get out of Group F here. We go to Group D. The Vikings are 26 down for 20. Just an abysmal performance here by J.J. McCarthy, who's looking more and more like a UDFA, which, I talked about how someone mentioned that to me. I always thought he was the 3rd-round prospect. I liked him in fantasy coming into the season just because Kevin O'Connell is just such a sharp offensive-minded coach, and he picked McCarthy over Sam Darnold, who had a great year last year. And I thought, I guess McCarthy or O'Connell's seeing something I'm not. Apparently he's not, and this might cost him his job. McCarthy has a concussion, quote unquote. So it's gonna be Max Brosmer starting. Brosmer, he's a prospect who has good accuracy. He's a good technician with his footwork. So he's not a developmental guy, but he has no upside. He has a noodle arm. He has no athletic ability. I don't know how the Vikings are going to win with him. I mean, he can't be that much worse than McCarthy, but he is worse. I think at least McCarthy has NFL talent. Brosmer does not. Number 25, the Giants were 25 last week. Jameis Winston had a great game, but he just stopped scoring after that crazy reception touchdown. They didn't do anything after that. So if the game went a quarter longer, maybe the Lions would have covered after all. Just looked like they just ran out of gas, which can't really be too surprised by that. Number 24, the Browns, same from last week. Yeah, Shedeur Sanders, one of the best touchdowns I've ever seen. That 66-yarder to Dylan Sampson. He just went all the way back in the pocket, launched the ball 2 yards in front of him, and Sampson did all the work. All kidding aside, like Sanders was better than expected. He didn't drift too far in the pocket, but not too much to be excited about either. I guess he's better than Dylan Gabriel, but we all kind of knew that anyway. Number 23, we get to the Atlanta Falcons, who are still 23 last week. Nice bounce back win, and Atlanta 4-7, still very much alive for the playoffs, only because the NFC South is a disaster. Baker Mayfield's now injured. The Panthers lost Monday night. The Falcons are looking pretty good. They play the Jets. If they beat the Jets, and Tampa loses as a small favorite to Arizona, and Carolina loses as a huge underdog to the Rams, suddenly Atlanta is going to be one back of the division, and they're going to be able to play the Buccaneers again later. So it could come down to that, and I think we all expect the Panthers to fold here. And speaking of the Panthers, they're number 22, still 22 from last week. No one expected them to beat the Niners. I think they're now 6-6. Bryce Young predictably flops after that big performance against the Falcons. The Falcons were jet lagged off the 11-hour flight from Germany, so that's why they really struggled in the second half. And it was pretty predictable here. And the Panthers are going to get blown out in all likelihood against the Rams. So this is the end of Group D. We go to Group C. Number 21, Arizona, still 21. It's crazy. They're 6 plays away from being 9-2. Like they lost another close game. It really could have gone either way against Jacksonville. They just stalled at midfield and overtime, and really think that they could have gotten there. They lost Walter Nolan to injury too. That really helped the Jaguars move the ball late in the second half. Walter Nolan scored a touchdown early. Like he's been a monster so far, but in limited action. He hasn't played all that much because he's been banged up a lot. Number 20, the Steelers, down from 19. Mason Rudolph, I thought we might see better quarterback play from him than Aaron Rodgers, because Rodgers, all he's done is think and dunk this year. But Rudolph had just 2 bad interceptions and just did not play well. So there's not much hope for the Steelers here. They no longer have sole possession in the first place in the AFC North. So they're about to lose that at some point. So this team is they might make the playoffs, but even if they do, they're going to be one and done. Number 19, we have the LA Chargers, down from 18. They didn't play, so we'll see if Jim Harbaugh is able to solve their protection issues, which were horrible. They lost 35-6 to the Jaguars in the previous game, which is just very, very alarming. Number 18, the Jaguars, speaking of them, they're down from 17, so they moved down even though they won. It's just circumstance here, just moving down. Like, so I guess someone else moved up, and we'll see who that was. But I didn't change my ranking on them at all. They're just still a fairly average to slightly below average team. Number 17, the Bengals. Here we go. That's the team that moved up from 26. They move up because Joe Burrow's coming back. Or at least we expect him to be back. He practiced fully last week. He's practicing fully now. So it would be shocking if he doesn't return. I don't quite know what we're going to get out of him, but it can't be worse than what we've seen out of Joe Flacco recently with his bum shoulder. Flacco only scored 6 offensive points last week until garbage time. He just hasn't been the same since he hurt his shoulder, and plus Jamar Chase was out too. Chase will be back, but Higgins will be out with a concussion. Number 16, the Buccaneers, down from 12. This has to do a little bit with Baker Mayfield's injury, but there's a chance Mayfield will play. But if Mayfield plays, like I don't know if he's going to be 100%. So Yeah, so it's hard to take this team seriously. They're now 0-4 against Group A. Every time they've had a chance to step up in competition, they failed miserably. They got blown out by the Rams. Number 15, the Texans up from 16. They beat the Bills at home. Nice win, but I still worry about the offensive line. It's just going to be a big problem, I think, moving forward. CJ Stroud will be back, but it's not like they had bad play from Davis Mills. So, yeah, the same issues persist for Houston, but at least their defense is awesome. Number 14, Dallas up for 15. Nice win against the Eagles, although they had to come back from down 21-0, and the Eagles looked like they fell asleep at the wheel. The Eagles also didn't have Lane Johnson, and I expected Dallas to cover. So when they were down 21-0, it looked like a big disappointment. So I'm not going to move them up too much for that win, but it was a nice comeback at least. Number 13, we have the Bears up from 14. The Bears still have a negative point differential on the year, despite being 8-3. It's pretty insane. I don't trust the team. I don't trust his defense. The offense is coming around, but Caleb Williams is going to be hit or miss. It's an okay team. I think they're slightly above average to average. But if they make the playoffs, I really don't expect them to go far. Let's not be too excited about a win over Mason Rudolph by 3 points. Number 12, the Niners up from 13. So they nice win against the Panthers on Monday night. Although Brock Purdy was a disaster with 3 interceptions, he won't be able to survive that way against better teams. But against Carolina, he's able to. Number 11, we have the Broncos, who were 11 last week. They're coming off the bye. I still don't trust Bo Nix, but I love the defense. It's kind of like Houston here. And coincidentally, they played a very tight game in Houston a few weeks ago. But yeah, Bo Nix in the first 3 quarters has been awful this year. He's been great in the fourth quarter, but yeah, I mean, they've had close wins against the Raiders, Jets, Giants, and Titans. It's very hard to take this team seriously as a Super Bowl contender, despite the record. But they're still an above average team for sure. All right, we go to Group B, which is number 10 is the Patriots, down from 9. They got dinged a little bit here for the Will Campbell injury. They also lost the left guard, Jared Wilson, but Wilson's not that good, so that wasn't a big loss. The Will Campbell loss is going to be huge, especially against obviously teams that get to the quarterback and the edge. And the first test will be against the Giants, who have a great edge rush. So, yeah, I think unfortunately, I think this pumpkin or this carriage turned into a pumpkin here for the Patriots at 10-2. Just seems like they're going to be in decline now with the offensive line getting hurt here. Also, the right tackle got dinged up too, Morgan Moses, but he returned to the game. But we don't know if he's going to be 100%. Packers number 9 up from 10. Nice win here against the Vikings. The Vikings are not a good team, but the Packers won by margin. So they haven't done that a lot this year. So give them credit what credit is due. We'll see what they do against the Lions. They've owned the Lions when they've been healthy. Outside of last year, their second matchup, they lost by 3 points when both those the Lions are the better team, yet the Packers kept it close in a kind of a back and forth sort of game. They dismantled the Lions week 1. We'll see if that happens again on Thanksgiving. They beat the Lions as underdogs the last time they played Detroit on Thanksgiving. Number 8, we have the Ravens here, or 8 last week. So the good news is that they were 1-5. Now they're 6-5, and they're tied atop the division. The bad news is that Lamar Jackson still doesn't look healthy. Now it's still a long season. Still 6 weeks to go. He has plenty of time to get healthy, but right now he does not look like himself. He's just not scrambling all that much. Number 7, the Colts, still 7. Not going to blame them for losing at Kansas City. As they even covered the spread. It's a tight game. Thought they played well, but they blew the lead at the end. Taylor didn't run that much, which was kind of surprising, but this team should still be taken seriously. We'll see what happens with the Houston matchup this week. It should be interesting. Number 6, the Lions, still 6. I don't know. This team just has been underwhelming this year. Just consider their wins. They haven't had a win against a good, healthy team. You might remember the Ravens win in week 3, but the Ravens, that's when they really started to get banged up. We saw the Ravens lose the next week in a blowout to Kansas City, and then they lost a couple more games after that. So hard to take that win super seriously. And if you don't, I'd ask you, what's their best win this year? I think it's fair to be skeptical about this team. And so it wouldn't surprise me at all if they lose to the Packers on Thanksgiving. We go to Group A with the best of the best. Seattle, number 5, still 5. Nice win against the Titans, although they didn't cover. Part of that was because of the punt return touchdown. Also, they allowed a backdoor cover at the end with a minute left. So frustrating. JSN was incredible in that game. I actually played a 3-leg parlay just for fun, just going way off with the stats. But part of that was JSN 150 plus receiving yards, and he hit. I was like, oh man, we have a chance here. Unfortunately, I also had Rome Odunze in there because he beats up man coverage and he didn't do that much. And then I also had Jameson Williams, who did absolutely nothing. So should have put Gibbs in there, I guess, instead. Number 4, the Chiefs, who are still 4. They had a nice comeback against the Colts. I thought they played well overall, even though they're trailing by 11 in the fourth quarter. They made a lot of mistakes, and they got screwed by a penalty. I guess it comes full circle because the Chiefs are often the recipients of bad officiating, but there was a bogus call that nullified a Travis Kelce touchdown. So they were able to overcome it at least, which is good. Number 3, the Bills, still 3. I'm not going to penalize them for losing to Houston on a short week. They lost to Houston last year. Tough matchup. The Bills' run defense is not fixed yet, but off a mini bye, maybe it will. Matt Milano needs to get healthy, and with more time to rest, perhaps he'll be healthy. And so once he is, Buffalo's run defense will be fixed, and then Buffalo will not have any flaws. Number 2, the Eagles, down from 1. So they blew the lead. They've blown a lot of leads this year. And they can't run the ball, and that's why they can't close out games. Maybe when Lane Johnson comes back late in the year, they'll be better at that. But no Lane Johnson right now really hurts them too. So still a great team, but the fact that they can't close out games, that may cost them down the road. Maybe against the number 1 team, which is the LA Rams, up from 2. Nice win against the Buccaneers, blowout win, like not even close. I wish they would have scored a little bit more in the second half. I knew they didn't really need to, but it feels like they did the same thing against the Eagles. Speaking of blown leads, they blew a 26-7 lead against the Eagles, just not doing anything that second half. So if there's a flaw here with the Rams, it's just they don't keep their foot on the gas. But think about it this way: they could be 10-1 if it wasn't for that stupid block field goal, and really 11-0 if they just showed up to play the Niners on a Thursday night. And they outgained the Niners by a wide margin in that game, but they just happened to lose because of some weird short yardage stuff, which it seems to be resolved. At least at least we think so. So yeah, the Rams are the best team in the NFL right now, but we still have 6 weeks to go. So let me know what I did wrong here in these power rankings. How would you rank these teams? Please let me know in the comments. Otherwise, please hit like, subscribe, share this video, and visit walterfootball.com for tons of free NFL content. And I'll talk to you in the next video.